You probably know I wrote the best interest of the child, the code, many years ago, and I still fully support the best interest of the child. But there is a dilemma here happening, and it's been happening for all these years. There are, across the state, certain judges who have a bias. What do we do to help the families who care, both parents care about the child? And when there can be irreparable damage in some of these situations because of this, it may take years to be able to get the father or the mother back on with the parenting. And the child may not understand what happened for over a year or 2 years, why all of this is being processed. Do you have any thoughts or solution of what can be done when this happens?
To the chair and to Representative Grandel, the bias you speak of exists. We would not deny that. And the bias can go in all directions. That's the nature of the beast. When you create an entity called a courtroom and it is run by individuals.
What a lot of people don't realize is that the best interest of the child isn't an actual standard. It's just a list of criteria for the court to consider. But courts have no guidance on what to do with each of those factors. So how do you weigh them? And then what do you do with the information that you get out of the case? So one of the problems that the courts have is that they have to make a decision about what is best for a child. But best is very subjective. The best interest of the child is simply not defined. So courts have to apply their own opinions, their own biases, and their own ideas about how to raise a child. Because if you have two good parents, the court has to choose a parent that is best for the child. There are situations where it's very obvious that maybe there's a parent who is a danger to their children. They should not have access to their children at all. What we're seeing, though, is that when there are two good parents coming into court, the court still has to pick someone. So good parents are being separated from their children simply because the court has to choose a parent. There's a big misconception that if you're a good parent and you go into family court, that you're going to be able to maintain that relationship with your child, that you're going to be able to continue to make decisions for your child, that if you're a safe, loving parent, you'll continue to be a parent. The problem is that is not how things typically work out. Typically, there's only one parent who is able to retain their parenting decision rights. Only one parent gets the majority of the time. And so one parent is automatically sidelined simply because the courts have to choose. So I think the argument should not be about whether or not courts are biased, but really, in my opinion, the argument should be, why are the courts allowed to be biased? And the reason they're allowed is because of the best interest of the child standard, because they get to apply their own ideals, their own biases, their own opinions on how children should be raised. Because if you have two parents disagreeing on decisions about a child, it's up to the court to make that decision for that child. They have no choice. The court has no choice but to apply their own ideas and their own opinions to the situation.